Reinvention is the key to overcome new challenges and keep growing. Welcome to South Summit 2020. A new networking platform with a revolutionary live TV format to access and connect from any device, anytime, and anywhere. Join South Summit 2020 and multiply your business opportunities.
Good morning, everyone. It's the 6th of October, the first day of the South Summit, and here we are in Madrid. But we're not just in Madrid. We're in Singapore, we're in New York, Buenos Aires, Milan, London, Barcelona, San Francisco. We're more connected than ever this year. Now, we're about to start the education track, but we've got other tracks going in parallel, one being the future of work, and the other one, health and well-being. Make sure you join our prime time this afternoon session, where you'll hear from leaders like Ana Patricia Botín, who will be interviewing Wendy Kopp, and the visionary Audrey de Grey, amongst others. Now, who's the host of this track, education? None other than IE University. And you might say, why IE? Well, apart from being one of the main sponsors today, this is critical for IE because you see, one of our greatest values as a school is entrepreneurship, the entrepreneurial mindset. And while that was a flavor of the month maybe a few years ago, today it is not a flavor of the month. This is not a fad. We're living through so much uncertainty today, and our school is the #2 in the world in entrepreneurship, according to Bloomberg. And we're probably in the top 10 with every other ranking that you see out there. So why entrepreneurship? Why today? Because we're going through a period of extreme uncertainty right now all over the world. And what does an entrepreneur see in uncertainty? Opportunity. So join us as we begin this amazing first day of the South Summit. And what better way to start than through a conversation with some really amazing people. So I'd like to introduce Johan Brand, who is the CEO of a creative technology company based in Oslo, Norway. He founded Kahoot, which is one of the fastest growing learning brands in the world, used millions of times every year. And Michael Staton. Michael Staton is a partner at Learn Capital, where he has helped lead investments in Coursera, Minerva, and Brilliant. Ladies and gentlemen, join me for this unique conversation. Gentlemen, the word is yours.
Okay, cool. So Johan, it seems like it was not that long ago that you were about to launch Kahoot in Oslo. And you were very, very excited back then about the set of ideas that would guide Kahoot. Sometimes in venture capital, we call that your product insight. And I think that you had a unique product insight that you had developed, and you stayed true to that product insight as the company grew. And for the entrepreneurs that are here today, I'm wondering, how did you develop that insight? How did you stay true to it? And what are the lessons you might have for other entrepreneurs in that regard?
Yeah, and it's fun you say that, because actually I just had a conversation with the current CEO of Kahoot, which was our first proper chairman. And he said, it's funny, isn't it, that we now 7 years later, we're still sticking true to the original concept. A lot of companies definitely go through an evolution, but I would say, and change, but Kahoot is kind of unique in the sense that, yeah, you're right, the product insight we had stayed very true. So for the team who founded Kahoot, we realized that it wasn't predictive technology and smart technology that really was going to change education. What we saw was there was a underutilization of being human in the classroom. So figuring out how to get kids to lean in, how to get the child in the back of the classroom in the front for the right reasons. We realized that you could use technology to facilitate that. You could use game structure. You could use all these things that kids have built into them, play language. You could put that into a context of a learning environment, and you can kind of unlock learning. So we came up with this insight we call Making Learning Awesome. And it's interesting that our product insight wasn't technology, or it wasn't about the curriculum. It was really about a human emotion that would connect both the children, the teacher, the parents, the administration to the core of the mission of the school. And I was really finding kind of the love for education again. So this this became our North Star. And then every technology and every kind of everything we're doing around that was kind of making sure that we're staying true to making learning awesome, which still is the purpose of Kahoot. And I think as a lesson for a lot of the companies we get involved in now out of the work I'm doing is getting people to not look at themselves. When they write their mission statements, you're writing the mission that we are going to be the biggest. We are going to take this, but instead actually looking at what are you unlocking for your user. What are you unlocking in the context you're going into. I think that's probably one of the success factors for Kahoot is that we were completely designed around enabling learning to be awesome, and also that's why Kahoot is profitable outside of the classroom. It's understanding that learning happens in the classroom, and that's where the value proposition kind of had its original purpose. But we alongside realized our business model is going to first make its money in corporates. And then finding the analogy between what's going on in corporates and classroom, what's the similarities we call from classroom to boardroom. And of course, it's the human being, is how we interact with each other, how we unlock learning, how we interact with products, the simplicity.
So you found there were a lot of analogies between like making learning awesome and making corporate meetings awesome. Is that?
Yeah, it's completely true. I can tell you that board meetings at Microsoft, they've used Kahoot and has had exactly the same effect as in the classroom. And you know what? One of the main reasons for people is to be seen. That you are in the room and that the leader of the room, if it's a teacher or if it's other students or if it's your colleagues, they see you. They recognize you there in the room and you can display that you know your shit or you don't know your shit. But I mean, that's kind of, it's the similarity of being human in the element is very important. Another part of this is, I'm not going to name too much, but it was a News Corp company. They invested heavily in predictive technology and it was using all the latest stuff and, it was replacing the teacher. The whole point for us was the opposite, was to look at how can we get the most out of people in the room. We're shipping all the kids into the classroom, we're paying the teachers. How do you make the most of having all these awesome humans in a room together? How do you make the most going on? Of course, that's making a human connection, a social play around learning. And that's not going to go of age. That's going to be as true as long as we exist as human beings. Being present and seeing each other is going to be a huge driver for learning. And we now know from neuroscience that, social moments are huge triggers for learning, but also storing the learning and kind of putting into context of what we need to do.
Okay, gentlemen, I'm sorry, but we're running out of time. Amazing insights. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so you heard Kahoot. It's not just for kids, also for corporates. And I can imagine that there's a lot of analogies there. Okay, we're about to start probably the most exciting part of South Summit, which is the startup competitions. Now, I can tell you, I've been doing South Summit now since 2013. This is, many editions afterwards. But I have never seen the quality that you are going to see over the next few days. It's just amazing. So let's begin. All right, our startup competition has several criteria. We're looking for innovation. We're looking for scalability. We're looking for team, viability, and investability. So let's begin. We have a jury that's online and we have a physical jury. So I'm just going to mention a few of the people that are in our jury today because we have a bunch of people here. But in particular, we have from Axon Partners, Javier Martinez de Irujo. We also have from Ferrovial, Jaime Canosa, talent manager, who's with us here physically. We have from Endesa, Maria Reutz from the Commercial Department, Strategic Projects and Customer Experience, who's here online. We have Michael Stanton from Learn Capital, who's here virtually, as you know. We have from IE, Nacho Mateo, who's here with us physically, Chief of Investor Relations. We have from Telefonica, Susana Jurado, Head of Open Innovation by Academia, who's here with us physically as well. Welcome. And we have from Fundación Santillana, Manuela Lara, who's with us. And finally, from Fundación Telefónica, Luis Miguel Olivas, who's here with us physically and is Director of Employability and Educational Innovation. All right, so our first startup. Our first startup is called Blocks. It's represented by Bruno Berchielli, who's the CEO. Blocks proposes a radical new approach to how higher education institutions could operate by providing more freedom to the student. From Brazil, join me in welcoming Blocks.
Hi, my name is Bruno Berchielli, I'm founder and CEO of Blocks, and it's a pleasure to be here today. Can you imagine going to the university and not be able to pick any of your subjects? That's actually how it is for tens of millions of higher education students around the world. This happens basically because the university has the necessity of a positive operational margin, and they're also trapped inside their own culture and mindset, and they doesn't know it could be different. And this results in the universities offering commoditized and uninteresting learning experience. We had enough with the one-size-fits-all model for education, and that's why we created Blocks. Blocks is the first full-featured digital platform to help universities to flexibilize their curriculums, offering the students the possibility to choose his own tracks and learning paths inside the university. And this also manages the professor allocation, classroom capacity, all within our technology and proprietary algorithm to help the university to be the most efficient possible while offering a personalized track for each student. 2019 was the first year of our operation, and we already achieved great results. On average, our clients have 6% less dropout rate and 20 to 45% increase in the contribution margin. Blocks already have clients in all university segments. For example, AAA universities, community colleges, and public universities. Blocks has a service model with more than 35,000 students and charge the university according to the volume of students in a monthly fee. As of July of 2020, Blocks has partnered with Pearson as a partner to distribute the platform in Latin America in exchange of revenue share. Pearson is a great partner to us and also believes that the future of education will be personalized. We have a very experienced team in the higher education as previous deans and course directors. And our team was also awarded as Entrepreneurs of the Year by Ernst Young, and we have been accelerated by Google for startups in 2020. I invite you to visit our website to know better the product, and it was a pleasure to be here. At Blocks, we believe that our choices defines who we are. Thank you so much.
Okay, we heard it, Blocks. Questions? Are we going to make life easier for students? Do I hear anybody from the online group or physical? Nacho Mateo from IE, the word is yours.
Thank you, Boris. Thank you, Bruno, for the presentation. Good, very good one. My question is regarding your growth projections and the development stage of your project. Can you give us more information about that?
All right. Thank you, Nacho. Blocks already has around 35,000 students around Brazil, which is our primary market. And we have the projections to reach around 200,000 students by 2020, by the end of 2020.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have another question from the jury?
Thank you, Bruno. I have a question. So there is a need, an increasing need for personalizing, at university, your degree or what you want to do, but also at the same time, students sometimes need some guidance. So how do you balance both things? And is the university somehow guiding, or it's your startup who's guiding students? Because I think there has to be a mixture of both things, personalization, but also with some guidance.
Great question. We actually address that in two different manners inside the platform. The first one, we give personalized suggestions to each student based on their history and their career goals. Mm-hmm. So we have an AI algorithm to help to minimize the distance between today and his objective. And the other solution that we provide inside the platform, we have the capability to make the students talk to a mentor or a professor mm-hmm. in order to get guidance inside the chat within the platform. So they can communicate with a human being it has the need.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, moving right along. Our next startup is called Smartest Learning AG. It will be presented by Mehdi Sharif and Steve Hinsky, co-CEOs. Smartest combines advanced machine learning algorithms with an intuitive user experience to automatically create exercises from school books for helping to prepare for exams. Join me to welcome Smartest Learning from Switzerland.
Hi, I'm Mehdi. Together with Steve, we founded Smartest. We all have been through this. Test preparation is a big part of students' lives. But how do they cope? Surveys show these are their top two feelings: nervous and scared. Because all too often, practicing is boring and demotivating. It takes a toll. Parents spend up to 14 hours per week helping their children. Hundreds of million students worldwide, as well as their teachers and parents, deserve something better. This is why we founded Smartest.
Smartest enables students and teachers to create tests from their study material within seconds. Using advanced machine learning algorithms, Smartest automatically extracts the content and creates interactive exercises tailored to what the student needs to learn. You simply scan or upload your document and select the relevant parts. Because the exercises and quizzes are interactive and engaging, learning does not feel boring. Smartest works for nearly all topics and documents. You have all your tests and study material in your pocket and can learn anytime, anywhere. Created tests can easily be shared with others, and our next version will even adapt more to personal learning styles, offering voice assistants like Alexa or Siri. If we look at the competitive landscape, existing education applications typically fall into one of two categories: vertical solutions for specific subjects like Duolingo, Photomath, or flexible but fairly manual quiz creation solutions like Quizlet or Kahoot. In comparison, Smartest works for any topic and creates the quizzes automatically. As a result, students are 7 times faster and save a lot of time, which they can use for what really matters: learning. Our core team is passionate and competent. With 2 PhDs in computer science and more than 70 years combined professional experience, we have the right people to make this happen. Several of us also have teaching experience.
Our business model is subscription-based with options for both B2C and B2B customers. We are already running pilots with 3 schools in Switzerland. Our ambition is to expand and scale quickly, reaching over 10 million users and 50 million euros revenue over the next 5 years. We have just completed our seed round, and we will look for another round next year to expand our team, develop our next product features, and implement our growth plans. We are committed to making our vision come true, giving every student a chance to ace their exams. Thank you.
All right. So there you have it, 2 co-CEOs. Questions from the jury, online or face-to-face? Manuela Lara.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi. Thank you, Mary and Steve, for your presentation. I have a question. I'm not sure about your target. Is the student, the teacher, or a publisher of textbooks, for example?
Thank you for your question. So our target are the students and their teachers. And I think the unique value we add is that they can start with their existing study materials, so they don't have to look elsewhere, and they can train on exactly what they need to learn. So teachers can share interactive exercises with their class, and students can also rehearse at home, for instance, to prepare for their tests and exams.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. We have time for one more question, I think. Okay, thank you, jury. All right, our next segment is a conversation. And this one is going to be a very interesting conversation. It's between 2 amazing people. Jamie Poskin is a former high school math and English teacher. Imagine that. He has his MBA and MA in education from Stanford University, and he is the founder of TeachFX, a company that is empowering teachers with feedback on student engagement using voice AI. I hope he explains that one to us. Benoit Wirtz is our other colleague here, and he is a partner at BrightEye, which he helped launch in 2017. BrightEye Ventures is one of Europe's leading focus-based venture capital funds, backing companies leveraging technology to help people grow and learn. Gentlemen, the floor is yours.
Great, thanks. I thought it might be helpful if I just started by explaining why we invested in TeachFX. It sits at the intersection of 3 things that we found really exciting. One is teacher effectiveness. If you think about the $7 trillion global spend, roughly 20% of that is spent directly on teachers. And so anything that you can do to improve teacher effectiveness really has a tremendous impact on learning. The second is it's a device or a product that provides real-time feedback. And we found that real-time feedback is one of the most effective ways to learn. And the third is just a tremendous team, of which Jamie leads. And I'm going to turn it over to him to just explain what is TeachFX.
Great, thanks, Ben. Like I said, I'm a former teacher. TeachFX is an app that teachers use and that uses voice AI to measure the student engagement, the equity of voice, and the discourse patterns in your classroom. And then the app automatically provides you as the teacher with targeted pedagogical feedback on your teaching practice very similar to what an instructional coach might do. It works on your phone, a laptop, on Zoom, on Teams, on any video conferencing platform. And really, we do what we do for three big reasons. One is student voice. Students need to speak in order to learn. The research on this is unequivocal. So whether you're working on a high-leverage teaching practice like asking open-ended questions or using wait time, or you're trying to implement a new curriculum, the whole stinking point of all of it is you're trying to get the kids more engaged, and we believe it's essential to measure that. The second reason we do what we do is equity. Teachers currently talk at their kids between 70 and 80% of class time, rather than letting students lead their own learning. And this problem is really most acute for special populations. It's a term in the US for Title I students, English learners, and students with disabilities. These groups benefit the most from speaking in class, but get far fewer opportunities to do so. And the third reason we do what we do, Ben alluded to, is feedback. In order to improve in anything, we need feedback. And teachers rarely get authentic feedback from their administrators. It's just too costly. TeachFX empowers teachers with on-demand feedback whenever they want it.
Great. And so one question I know you've had to deal with, like a lot of entrepreneurs, is COVID and the impact of the pandemic. And we'd love to hear more about how TeachFX has evolved in that context.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride. I mean, student engagement is probably at its lowest level in history right now. I mean, the transition to virtual learning has really put teachers in an unfamiliar and a challenging environment. And look, I was a teacher. It's hard to get kids engaged in normal times. To do it over Zoom is 10 times harder. And we've seen this challenge firsthand because we measure student engagement directly. And our partners are telling us that, yeah, hey, this is more important now than ever. We really see the crisis of the pandemic in education as a crisis of student engagement. And what's especially painful is that those suffering the most in the virtual learning environment are our most vulnerable students. So what we've done in response, our newest product innovation at TeachFX is called an equity tracker. And it's a new set of features that helps the teacher create a more equitable virtual classroom. We give teachers data in real time about which students are actively participating and who is disengaged. And the response has been pretty amazing. I mean, we're just hearing that it's absolutely game-changing for folks.
Great. And just one last question around internationalization. I mean, it's a question that actually in Europe entrepreneurs face earlier than in the US, but we'd love to hear how you're thinking about the international market.
Yeah, our focus has been on the US so far, where we're being used in several thousand schools, but we're very excited about opportunities to expand globally. The software works in any language. We're already partnering with the Ministry of Education in Chile, and we work with schools in a couple other countries as well. And we're excited to do more in the future.
Great. I think that's kind of all the time we've been budgeted at the moment. So thanks, Jamie. Thanks for being honest and clear.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, gentlemen. This is the first time that anybody's been on time. All right, let's move right along here. Now, they talked about engagement, like we're missing engagement in these times of COVID, but I have a feeling everybody watching here today is engaged, right? Yeah, how could you not be engaged with the amazing speakers and the amazing startups? Speaking of which, we now have another startup. This startup is called Student Finance, and it's being represented by its CEO, Mariano Kostelec. Student Finance is a financial technology company focused on helping partner schools financing students' education through income share arrangements. Wow, let's hear about that. From the country of Spain, join me in welcoming Student Finance.
Hi, my name is Mariano, founder of Student Finance, and we are fixing education financing through income share agreements. We are facing a huge talent shortage. In fact, over 85 million jobs will go unfilled by 2030, mainly due to automation. This is causing a huge shift towards skills-based education and lifelong learning. COVID-19 only accelerated the shift and made it even more urgent to help millions of people reskill to regain their jobs. With hundreds of millions unemployed, paying for education is increasingly inaccessible for most. Student Finance is solving this problem by building the infrastructure layer to support the education and training of millions of people through income share agreements. This allows them to access education and only pay after getting a job. We're building the technology platform supported by best-in-class infrastructure partners to offer a complete end-to-end ISA solution. This is backed by a forward-looking scoring and income prediction model with real-time labor market data, school quality score, and applicant scoring, enabling us to manage our risk while creating life-changing opportunities for millions of people. We supported so far hundreds of people, generated an average of a 50% salary increase post-graduation, many of whom were considered completely unbankable by traditional financial institutions. Our infrastructure enables the entire education system to move towards ISAs, from reskilling and upskilling courses to executive education and vocational training. Student Finance is the only ISA provider to offer a career-as-a-service platform to not only help people access quality education, but also get a job after graduating. Since launching just over 6 months ago, we generated over €1 million in ISAs with no marketing spend. We built an amazing team of 12 and developed our core data and technology infrastructure. We have an experienced management team and are backed by incredible investors who support our mission. We're super excited about this huge opportunity to transform the lives of millions of people while generating both social and financial returns. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, in these days of sustainability as the flavor of the month, you can also make money. What do you think, jury? We have jury members online and physically here. Who's it going to be? Nacho Mateo,
can I ask?
IE University.
Thank you, Paris, and thank you, Mariano, for the presentation. My question is regarding the business model. How are you guys planning to monetize in the future?
Hi, Nacho. Thanks for that. We have two revenue streams right now. One is we charge education partners fees for using our platform. So essentially, we're a B2B platform from that perspective. So the schools pay us per ISA contracts that we manage, a one-off origination fee as well as a servicing fee on a monthly basis. And on top of that, from the capital that we deploy to the schools, we generate the financial return. So those are the two streams at the moment. There's also opportunity down the line later to look at monetizing the jobs employment side of things.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Do we have a question from the online jury here? Yes, Beatriz.
Hi, Marina, thanks so much. My question is, how accessible is this for low-income families, considering the low level of financial education that we do have? Thank you.
I would say this is especially accessible to people from low income. Actually, we have a lot of users that, literally increase 4 or 5x their income before the courses and after. One of the key things here is that our scoring and risk models are very much focused on a forward-looking approach. So we look at the future affordability of those users as opposed to their past, credit, employment history, and so on, which literally means it enables pretty much everyone access those those education and then employment opportunities.
Okay, I think we're out of time. Thank you. All right, and now for a special treat. We have another conversation. This conversation is with Sir Mark Grundy. Sir Mark Grundy is the CEO of the Shireland Collegiate Academy Trust. What can I say? This gentleman is passionate about what he does, and he is making a lot of waves in the education industry in the UK. Sir Mark, do we have you here?
I think so, Paris. Hope so. Yep, you do.
How are you?
In my office. I'm fine. Yeah, it's cold here.
Good. Well, it was good to chat with you earlier. Sir Mark, I want to follow up on one of the things we talked about, because your teaching methods are truly innovative. They're different. Can you tell me a little bit about how your teaching methods are different and how they've managed to cope with this COVID time? How have you done with the students?
So, Paris, I suppose that they're different in that a number of years ago, we decided that we wouldn't be stuck in the sort of normal paradigm, particularly in the sort of English education system. So here, it's very traditional, very conservative. But we looked at the young people coming into our secondary school and realised that they came from all sorts of different primary schools. But actually, the biggest thing that they had to come to terms with was in a primary school, their teacher knew them intimately. They knew them pastorally, they knew them academically. And then when we brought them into secondary schools, actually, they then had loads of different teachers. Nobody knew them. Nobody really knew how to get the best out of them. So 12 years ago, we decided we would rewrite our secondary curriculum and make it skills-based and make it thematic and make it project-based, learning-based. And that's what we've done for the last 10 or 12 years. And the results are staggering. So my schools, I run a group of schools where we serve about 4,000 youngsters. They're all delivered in this skills-based, thematic, project-based learning framework. And it's completely changed the way we work.
Okay, and tell me, Sir Mark, also, I know that, because I was watching some of the videos of your classrooms, and they resonated a lot with myself, because at IE University, we have 95% diversity. What is diversity? What is diversity in your school? How important is it, and how much part of your, approach is it?
So, Paris, the communities that we serve are hugely culturally rich, but economically, they struggle. They really struggle. So we've got 60 different languages spoken in the secondary academy that I'm sitting in today. Wow. But all my schools have got between 30 and 40 languages spoken at home by our families. One of the things that our learners can do is they can cope with that because they're used to languages that are different, they're used to cultures that are different, and therefore they expect to adapt. And one of the things that makes us very different to other schools in our part of England is our youngsters are used to actually experiencing something that's very different and not being spooked by it, but actually looking at the strengths they can take from it and building it into what they're doing. So diversity for us is a massive strength. I mean, a number of, you will see, I think there's a sort of stereotyping of English schools that we don't cope with that variation, but actually the best schools in this country use that variation to make them stronger, and that's what my youngsters do.
Okay, so Mark, we have time for one more question, about 90 seconds, minute and a half. One of the things we also talked about is traditional education prepares us for a predictable world. And, when now we have so much uncertainty among us, students are completely lost. What's your approach to dealing with uncertainty?
So I think one of the ways that we've dealt with uncertainty, Paris, is we've created an architecture, both using technology but also using the curriculum, that means, again, youngsters are used to designing things. So every student in my school, all my schools, they all do design. They all look at a problem and find a way to work their way around that problem. And obviously, when you're in the sort of time that we're in at the moment with COVID, it's served our youngsters incredibly well. So I suppose it's a mix of how do we deal with unpredictability? It's create an architecture so they know how to cope. It's give them curriculum experiences whereby you take them out of their comfort zone. But also it's that sort of tolerance of different. Different here doesn't spook our youngsters. They sort of expect it.
Yeah, out of your comfort zone. Sir Mark, thank you so much, and keep doing what you're doing.
You're really welcome. I was really impressed listening to the startups, Paris. Thank you for inviting me to be part of this.
No, it's a pleasure.
Have a great day.
All right, you too. All right,
Bye.
people, we're going to move right along after that inspirational talk. Okay, we're back to startups. So, jury members, get ready here. Our next startup is called Tomi. The pitcher is Juan Lopera, who's the co-founder. What does Tomi do? It's an online subscription service that includes a free device that allows teachers to deliver amazing interactive gamified class content, even in classes with poor or no internet connectivity. From the country of Colombia, join me in welcoming Tomi.
Hi, I'm Juan. I'm the co-founder of Tomi. And Tomi is a platform and a device that helps K-12 teachers in emerging countries to create awesome classes. Let's see, this is a developed classroom, a developed country classroom. And this is the average classroom in the 80% of the planet. So the gap is evident. Not having internet access inside a classroom to access didactic content is one of the lack of teachers in emerging countries. Tommy is an online subscription for those offline classrooms which work like Kahoot or Quizlet, with more than 40,000 games already created by the community of teachers that we have in the last 5 months, and very easy to use templates to create new ones, details report, and an AI-based advising systems to teachers. All this even without internet access inside a classroom. We enable the real-time interaction with Tommy Digital without internet connection using a better version of the platform inside our patented device, Tommy 7. So when a teacher takes Tommy device inside the classrooms, Tommy creates a Wi-Fi connection that simulates internet and allows interaction from the device of the students with all the content previously synchronized into Tommy device. Additionally, Tommy has features to enhance the content deployment, like becoming any video projector into a touch-sensitive and a smartboard, grading in paper exams automatically, and learning from the didactic strategies the better teachers already used. So we have 2 types of devices, but the better news about this is that both of them are for free for annual subscribers. So the teachers paid for an annual subscription, and we give the enabler device for free to their countries. There is a $20 billion market for didactic printed textbooks in emerging countries that will become digital and will grow as it did in developed countries already. So we can let it before any other can do it. Our competitors are not growing in emerging countries while we are growing organically and bootstrapped as in users, as in revenue, with $2.7 million in revenue and 169% monthly usage growth. We are right now raising $2 million in our seed round from strategic investors, and 3 important investors already believe in us, including Andrew Sutherland from Quizlet, one of our competitors. There was a teacher who changed my life and my co-founder's life while we grew up in a poor neighborhood here in Colombia. That's why we are working for teachers. We already created a successful edtech startup with more than $30 million in revenue in the first 5 years, only in Colombia with the same team. So we are ready to do it bigger and better with Tommy. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Wow, another one of these doing good startups, huh? And amazing. I hope they succeed. So, questions from our juries, online or physical? Yes, Laurent.
Yes, thank you. Could you explain a little bit more who is your target customer?
Yes, of course. Our user are the teachers. So we have thousands of teachers around the Latin American countries using our platform without internet inside their classrooms, or even in rural areas, just taking the device to the rural areas to join the students to the platform.
Okay, next question. Mike Kilstetten from the virtual, I think.
Yeah, what's your repeatable, scalable process to get in front of potential customers and have them become customers?
Sure, that's good. That's a good one. So we are doing multiple strategies. The main one is that we are working with development banks and with government as well in the countries for giving free access to most of the teachers for a long period. So that's the strategy for getting the first touch with the teachers. After that, teachers are buying the technology by themselves, which is very impressive for us because this teacher doesn't have a good salary. So that's the main way. Additionally, we have some online strategy for promoting the product through advertising.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Imagine that, teachers buying the devices, doing good all over the world. All right, our next conversation is not long, but sometimes it's these unique, insightful messages that go a long way. I want to welcome on stage Francisco Calvache, head of the Transformation Office in Telefónica Educación Digital, who's with us here physically. Welcome, Francisco. Grab a seat.
Hello, how are you?
Hi.
May I sit?
Yes, please, sit down.
Thank you.
So, Francisco, You know, we hear a lot about digital transformation.
Yeah.
But as we know, it takes a long time in many companies. Mm-hmm. And you've got consultants spending, you know, working and companies spending billions on this.
Right.
What's the role of education and training in digital transformation?
It's a really important role, I guess. In fact, we can say we are now in the age of learning because of the digital transformation. Because nowadays, I think works are changing a lot. We are in this digitization era, which is unstoppable now. And we are not talking about a digital society or an analog society. We are now in a hybrid society. And it's bringing new skills, new challenges for all of us. And we have to be able to adapt to all those changes. And how can we do that? We have to do it by learning continuously. Learning by doing. We have to be long life learners. We have to non-stop learning every day to adapt to all these changes brought by the digital revolution.
Yeah, and if when you hear all these stories of these failed digital transformation exercises, everybody says the same thing. They haven't fixed the people problem.
Yeah, exactly.
The mindsets.
Exactly.
So what's the role of education and the people side of this?
Well, firstly, we have to be clear that digitalization is going to break down or make disappear some jobs, perhaps. We usually talk about that. But it's also true that so many opportunities are coming. There is 2.5 jobs appearing against one job disappearing because of this digital transformation. So what people need is to realize that we have to adapt to this new reality because it is human, it is people, it is talent which is driven this change, this transformation. It is not robots, it is not programmation, this is people in the center and the talent. And we have to be able to enforce this talent from people to get to that point that we need in the new skills and the new jobs.
So what advice do you give to young people today that with all this uncertainty, they have to prepare their mindsets for this new world?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, they have to be prepared for not stopping learning ever. Because, you know, so far we had some periods of learning in the school, college, universities, and that was all. Then you went to the company, and that was the end of learning. And now, fortunately, we have to be continuously learning. As mentioned before, we are now long life learners. So my advice for them would be that get ready for this because it's going to be fun. We are not going to be in the same place or in the same job ever our parents were before. We are now changing. We are continuously changing ourselves. We are focusing new challenges every day. And we have to be really prepared for all of this and be so happy to have this opportunity, I guess.
Great. Thank you, Francisco.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for your time today.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move right along. Our next segment inside this track is language. Language today. Now, you might think, why do people want to learn a language in times of COVID? You'd be surprised. So let's begin. We're going to start with our first startup in the language category. This startup is called Buddy.ai and is being represented by Ivan Krukov, who is the co-founder and CEO. They have a mobile app that helps children practice their spoken English by conversing with a virtual AI-powered cartoon character. I mean, how much fun can that be? Yeah, from the United States, join me in welcoming Buddy.ai.
Hi, I'm Ivan, the co-founder and CEO of Buddy.ai, and we're building the voice-based AI English tutor for kids. It all started when I brought my daughter Sophia to the United States. She was 3 years old and she had to learn how to speak English. Of course, there were tons of English learning apps and websites, but it turns out that the only way to practice speaking online was through tutoring platforms that connect children and teachers via video conferencing and charge like $20+ per lesson, which is too expensive for most families, right? And there are 500 million children with the same problem in the world today. So enter Buddy.ai. We help children practice spoken English by talking with a virtual AI-powered character, just as they would with a human tutor. Meet Buddy.ai.
Hello, Ivan.
Hi, Buddy.
How are you?
doing great. And you?
I'm great. Thank you. Do you want to play dinosaurs?
I'm a bit busy here.
Bye-bye. See you later.
Buddy lives on a mobile app. He helps children learn speaking vocabulary, improve pronunciation, and even practice real-life dialogues. Today, Buddy is a prototype with just 5% of planned functionality, but it already has 30,000 paying students, generating over $1.7 million in annualized subscription revenue. And we have 200,000 user reviews worldwide, almost all of which are 5-star ratings. Last year, Buddy has won the Global Education Startup Innovation Award and was nominated for more Voice Technology and Education Awards. Buddy's secret sauce took us 2 years to cook. And essentially, it's a virtual character powered by a proprietary speech stack and a adaptive learning technology developed in-house. Our focus on speaking and the virtual AI-powered tutor makes us different from the regular language learning apps and bring us closer to online human tutors. We're a small team, but we have the experience of building powerful voice-first products and adaptive learning systems. We sold our previous voice technology company, and our kids just made us build Buddy. The time is now. Buddy just became possible because of the recent advancements in AI technology. And the pandemic made online learning a new normal, making our work important as never before. So join us on a mission, and I hope our children will be able to really speak to each other. Thank you very much. I'd be happy to share more.
Wow, 1.7 million in revenue with only 5% functionality so far. Are you guys ready to invest? Okay, Q&A from the jury, online or physical? Rosa Narvaez.
Hi, hello. Thank you for your presentation. My question is regarding the user experience. Considering the product is voice-based and how complex designing these types of interactions can be, how do you plan handling misunderstanding, considering kids are the main user of your product?
We have a lot of experience in building voice-first products and working with, people with accents and handling misunderstanding. So basically, it's a part of the natural language processing stack that we built. We have a pretty funny working system. Yeah, so basically for handling fallbacks and things like that. You just should try it and you'll see.
All right, thank you. Back to the jury. We got time for one more question from the virtual world. Alvaro.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay, Ivan, congrats for the presentation. I would like to know if you can elaborate a little bit more on your marketing strategy, because you have users at the end are children, but you have clients that I guess at the end are the parents. So how do you split the strategy? How do you reach out to your customers?
So today we market our product directly to families. We experiment with paid user acquisition, but on the top of paid users, we get around 50% of word of mouth organic bonus. And this bonus grows over time from around 10% when we just launched in a new country to over 70% in countries where we operate for over a year. And now we start working with teachers and schools.
All right, thank you. Okay, we got one more startup in this segment. This company is called Polyglotta. Polyglotta, and it's represented by Jose Sanchez, the co-founder. Polyglotta is a social method for learning a new language. Now, when I heard that the first time, I thought, they always tell you the best way to learn a language is to have either a girlfriend or a boyfriend from that country, right? Well, this is social too, I suppose, but let's see what they talk about. Polyglotta is focused on practice. So, Jose Sanchez, the floor is yours. The company is from Chile.
Hi, my name is Jose Manuel Sanchez, co-founder of Políglota, the social method for learning languages. In Latin America, only 2% of the population is able to speak English fluently. Main reason is that traditional classes lack the fundamental key to learn a new language, social practice. In Políglota, we challenge this. We have developed a new methodology for language training, both online and offline, based on 3 principles: social, fun, and effective. We have more than 10,000 students in countries such as Mexico, Chile, and Peru, with more than 3,000 sessions monthly, and we reach $2.5 million in revenue over the last 12 months. These are personalized group classes, guided by expert coaches that we train using our methodology. People can take their classes in online groups with people from all over the world, or in our emblematic learning groups that take place in social locations such as cafes. Each group has one level according to the European framework, a small number of participants, and lasts 8 sessions. It's a gamified learning experience where coaches evaluate a student's skill progress at the end of each class. When a student reaches a high domain, she or he unlocks the next level. Students can track their progress in real time in our platform, where they can also access complementary content and activities and connect with other students in our community. People enroll through our website, where they can choose their subscription plan starting at $45 a month. We are also working with hundreds of companies in Latin America from the diverse industries. This is a disruptive learning approach. While many competitors are focusing on the content or trying to replace the teacher with software, we use technology to enhance the human interaction centered around skills. For each session, we receive an average ticket of $47, distributed over customer acquisition, coaches, and service costs, with a 35% margin for growth. We have had a constant growth over the years, and we are expecting now $2.9 million revenue this year. This is the work of a strong team with a global mindset. Language learning is a huge market of $51 billion worldwide, and we plan to reach 100 million in 2025. And for this reason, we are raising now our Series A round to grow in LATAM this quarter. In Políglota, we changed the way people learn languages, and we are just starting. Thanks.
All right. Yeah, it's Políglota, not Poliglota. I don't know my accents too well. Okay, jury members. All right, do we have questions from the virtual world or the physical world? Javier Martinez de Irujo.
Yes, hello. You said that you are targeting international students. I would like to know about your customer acquisition strategy and marketing strategy, to attract people from different countries. Thank you.
Yes, of course. Hi, and thanks for answering. Okay, we have a strong social network strategy based on social content. And also we have a call center in-house. We have a strong team of sales. So we are focused in growing one country at a time. So now we are in 3 countries, Mexico, Chile, and Peru. And we are growing now in all Latin America and looking to grow in the United States and Brazil in the next years.
Okay, thank you. All right, another question from the jury. Luis Miguel.
Thank you very much and congratulations. Could you give us more details about the KPIs, about the improvement, the satisfaction of the users that are in Políglota?
Sure. We have had a very good traction last years. Our NPS has been growing, and it keeps growing after COVID crisis, which was a little surprising for us, but it has been really, really great. And also we are establishing a very good balance between the number of people in a session that enables us to have very good economic KPIs and keeping it very personalized, a very good and solid experience for them. That's what they ask for, personalized, good experience where they can have fun while they're reaching their goals in improving in a new language.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Moving right along. And now for another insightful conversation. This one is very close to our heart here at IE because it is one of our role model IE alumni. I always tell my students, they say, well, what's the big success story of IE alumni? Well, one of them is Boozoo. So join me in welcoming Bernardo Nisner, who is the CEO and co-founder of Boozoo, the world's largest social network for language learning with more than 35 million users. With him is going to be Alper Utku, who's the co-founder of the European Leadership University, which is a new generation university providing recruitment, development, and retaining talent for exceptional organizations through bespoke degree programs. So the conversation is going to be about a very pertinent question nowadays. How has COVID-19 changed the landscape of education? Welcome, gentlemen.
Hi.
Bernard, it's good to see you again.
See you.
See you.
The floor is yours.
Yeah, happy to jump in. And Paris, I have to say, you need to update your notes. We already have more than 100 million users, not 35 million users. But,
oh my God, I'm going to kill somebody.
It's a pleasure to be here. And as you know, we're a bit of a dinosaur in the edtech industry. We started 12 years ago when I was studying at IE. So I've been around for a long time, but I've never seen anything similar to what COVID has done to online education. I mean, it's just unprecedented. We really could track the spread of the virus when it started in March. We saw our user numbers double in China, in Italy, in Spain, across the world. And I think what happened was that basically a lot of people suddenly were locked up at home and were looking for ways to educate themselves in an online way. And that's a good thing because we believe that technology is just advancing the way how people learn. And therefore, it's great to see that we can help people to accelerate the learning outcomes. And we think this is not going to go away. This is a point of no return. We will see this acceleration continue. We have seen the same in the academic field, where schools who told us for years that they will never use any technology in online education suddenly had to switch from one day to the other to a full online model. And now they have seen the benefits of it. We've seen the same in the corporate market, where companies always told us they had this teacher coming in every Wednesday, they love the group classes. Well, guess what? The teacher's not coming in anymore. They have to adapt to new ways of learning. And therefore, we think it's now the best time to be actually an entrepreneur in education technologies.
Yes, maybe I can comment at this point. Thank you, Bernard. And I think in the higher education area, one of the biggest changes that we've seen is simply about seeing the education companies moving into technology domain. One of the things we've always thought all the industries, including financial services and publishing, any industry that you can think of, it's inevitably they have in years with the digital transformation moved into technology. But we could see that education sector has been lagging behind. And one of the sad things about the higher education, particularly about the education sector in general, is that also I find it very hard to education companies like universities being in the education sector. They've been more into bluntly in the real estate sector. So they were so bound to physical spaces and teaching knowledge in the physical space. And with what we have seen with COVID is I think we've seen everything that we've been thinking about and talking about about the future of work and future of learning, anything that is anticipated for 2025 happened in a matter of months. And now we are challenged with everything that we've been doing, the way we teach, the way we learn, the way we engage, and that challenge is teaching us big stuff. And one of the biggest, I think, transformation that's needed in the education sector is how can we move from physical to digital, so from the boundaries of physical to digital, so that we can have access to learning and knowledge from everywhere and without the constraint of space and time. Then the next challenge is how can we move from teaching knowledge to developing experiences, so improving the experience of the learning in this shift, like from moving from physical to digital. Then finally, how can we move from seeing learning as an individual act to something social, something that we do as in groups? And how can we do that all together? I think that's the biggest challenge that universities are facing, because universities are so bound to the first one, the physical, individual, and also the focusing on knowledge. And that to me is always been something missing. And now with the changes that COVID, that we can complete that picture and move from where we've been the last 200 years and to something new.
Bernard, we have 1 minute left. Do you want to wrap it up for us?
Well, I think, it's, as always, as an entrepreneur, in every crisis, you see an opportunity. And, I'm very glad to see the new competitors coming up in the language learning space. I can congratulate them all. I'm very excited for many more companies to join this space, whether it's in languages, higher education, or other areas. Now is the time really to accelerate learning outcomes with technologies. It's super excited to be an entrepreneur here in this space.
And remember, 135 million users and growing, right? All right, gentlemen, thank you for your time and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving right along. An education track would not be the same without professional training, which is our next segment. And we're going to start with a startup. All right. This startup is called Body Swaps, and it's represented by Julien Denoël, who's the co-founder. Body Swaps is an SAS platform leveraging VR and AI and behavioral science to combine the experiential impact of role play with the scalability of digital solutions. Now, I don't think there are too many of us that understand what that is, but we're going to leave it to Julien from the United Kingdom, where this company is from, to explain that for us. Julien, the floor is yours.
Hi, I'm Julien, and I'm the co-founder of Body Swaps. I'm here to talk about transforming leadership at scale. The Me Too movement, BLM, Trump, Bolsonaro, so many examples to show that the world needs better leadership, more inclusivity. We exist to empower organizations to create a less biased reality and a more humane world of work by transforming the way leaders are trained. 83% of organizations recognize the need to develop better leadership skills at all levels, but only 5% are actually doing it. Why is that? Because transforming leadership at scale today is simply impossible. There is a massive trade-off. There is a massive trade-off between coaching on one hand, which is great, but too expensive and impractical to deploy at scale, and e-learning on the other hand, which is scalable, but just not suitable for soft skills training. Developing leadership essentials like active listening and emotional intelligence with e-learning is like learning how to swim on PowerPoint. What we're talking about here is transforming behavior, and that requires applied skills practice. What we've done is that we brought together the best of VR designers, learning design experts, and behavioral scientists with one obsession: transforming behavior. And here is how the format works, taking the example of one of our off-the-shelf simulations. Step 1, put on your headset and observe your colleague Sam being awful to Sophie. Step 2, face-to-face. Confront Sam by asking him the right questions. So far, pretty standard stuff, but here comes the secret ingredient. Step 3, give feedback to Sam in your own words, with your own voice, totally unscripted. When you're done, Step 4, swap bodies. Find yourself across the table in Sam's shoes and relive the interaction from his perspective. That's where you get to experience viscerally how it feels to be across from yourself. Self-reflection is the most powerful learning tool there is. And finally, Step 5, access behavioral analytics, start again, and build your confidence. Body Swaps is a B2B SaaS platform. We offer a range of off-the-shelf scenarios on a per-user license basis. For our customers, that means a lower barrier to entry. And to ensure scalability, we've made the platform available obviously on VR, but also on mobile and PC. Importantly, we deliver measurable results. We have developed a real-time analytics dashboard, and as it stands, 95% of learners would recommend body swaps to their peers, 83% reported an increase in confidence after a single-use simulation, and 85% of HR partners are looking to scale further. That's it for today. We're Body Swaps, and we're transforming leadership with empathy in VR. Thank you.
Wow. Now we know why it's called Body Swaps, right? This is the real thing, people. Self-reflection with steroids. All right. Do we have questions from the virtual world here or the physical world? All right. Manuela Lara from the physical world.
Hi, thanks. Hi, Julian. Could you explain a bit more about the kind of assessment you are using in order to define how the student has achieved the objectives?
Yes, so there are 3 levels of data that we capture. We've got spatial data, so where you look at what you do with your hands. We've got semantic analysis, so what you say is analyzed, speech to text and IBM Watson to analyze the text. And then emotion, so we analyze the tone of your voice. And what we do is working with subject matter experts and learning designers to define good learning behaviors and bad learning behaviors and try to give you feedback on these behaviors based on the data that we capture.
Susana.
Hi, thanks for the presentation. I've got a question is adoption of solutions based on VR, AR, in particular VR, where you need devices is quite difficult. So how are you tackling that? Because there's kind of a barrier there for the solutions that are based on these kind of devices. I mean, there's not a lot of people or even a lot of companies having these devices. So what's your plan there?
So you're absolutely right. So first off, we have made the platform available on mobile and PC to ensure scalability and deployment at scale. Now, for when it comes to VR, especially as people are working remotely, we have put in place a delivery and collection service, which is quite cost effective, in partner with the delivery company, so you can get your headset delivered and then shipped back. And more and more companies are getting equipped, so the hardware is becoming less expensive. You've got the Oculus Quest 2 coming up at £200, or 200 euros, so it's getting there.
Okay, thank you. All right, and now it's time for another insightful conversation. We've got 2 amazing gentlemen here for this conversation. I'm going to start by introducing Justin Cook, who's the Chief Content and Partnerships Officer at FutureLearn. He's not only an expert in content development for learning, but he's also an investor. He's a venture partner at TechVC North Zone. And the other gentleman joining us is Rafa Gonzalo, co-founder and co-CEO of the Power MBA, the fastest growing business school in Europe's history, determined in revolutionizing and democratizing higher business education by providing the best knowledge from the best minds at the best price. It's good to see Rafa, my friend. Where are you, Rafa? Good to see you again, Rafa.
So Rafa, you've been brilliantly introduced there. What I would love to do is just ask you a little bit about sort of the principles behind what made you go about creating the Power MBA.
Well, thanks for the invitation and for the questions. I will try to go straight to the point. We consider that learning about business, it has to be mainstream nowadays because we are living on a very interesting world with many opportunities. And it doesn't matter that you are a businessman or businesswoman or you are an entrepreneur. I think that learning about business is something mandatory and very useful for any kind of professional. From any kind of sector, but it's complicated because it's very expensive, and also you have to stop your life for a time. So we started with the Power MBA just to try to solve these main limitations.
Could you sort of just tell us a little bit more about sort of why you feel this type of learning is kind of perfect for a kind of a response to the COVID sort of pandemic?
Yeah, I think that the main idea here is to bring a full experience of assisting to a business school. Try to try to provide the students all the benefits of the main benefits of going to a business school, as for example the networking, and also making it very convenient.
Tell us a little bit about how you've adapted such an important part of doing an MBA, that networking. How have you translated that sort of online?
Yeah, when we started, we were not so. We thought that the most important thing was only learning, and we were wrong. People just let us see that it was as important as learning was the networking. So we started with many face-to-face events, local events with local communities, and right now with COVID, we are working with our ambassadors and our students. We are working different initiatives, as for example, what we call speed networking.
A minute left. Why don't you wrap it up, please?
If you could just give us a tiny bit about what's next for EdTech in your view.
It's a very good question. I think that the COVID is just an accelerator. It's just an accelerator. I think it's not going to. Some things after all this will go back to the previous status, but I think that the online education, it's being empowered and accelerated by COVID, and it's here just to. It's going to be the blended model with face-to-face, and the conventional ways of teaching are going to be much more blended with online education. I think it's not going to be white or black or white. It's going to be some kind of gray.
Okay.
Thanks, Rafa.
Gentlemen, Justin, thank you. Thank you, Rafa. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you very much. Thanks all. Thanks for your invitation.
Thank you. All right, moving right along. We got one more startup to go. I start to get sad when I see that we're running out of startups, and pretty soon we'll be over with the startup competitions because they are just so much fun. All right, this next startup is called GameLearn. It's represented by Ibrahim Jabari. It is the #1 video game learning platform with the most award-winning catalog and the authoring tool to create your own video games. Imagine that. From the country of Spain, join me in welcoming GameLearn.
Before COVID-19, the corporate e-learning market was expected to double by 2024, hitting the $31 billion mark. After coronavirus, the changes expected during 7 years will happen in just one, and some studies now set the new market size at $200 billion. This has opened an immense opportunity because schools, universities, and corporations need to transform their content into digital formats. To do so, they have to use the available authoring tools, which all share the same flow. They use ancient technology like text, test, video, or PowerPoint, the newest being over 30 years old. And what happens when you use old technology for online training? Boring, non-experiential learning, low completion rates, and an NPS of -20. How do we solve this problem? We design video games for corporate training, combining simulation, storytelling, and gamification. We offer fun, experiential learning that yields completion rates of over 90% and an NPS of 50. Why doesn't the rest of the training companies use video games too? They'd like to, but they can't. It takes millions of dollars, 1 to 2 years of development, and a dedicated technical team to create a training game. Our solution: we've leveraged both our experience serving over 2,000 corporate clients and the know-how designing award-winning series games to build The Editor, a unique authoring tool for creating training video games at a minimal cost, in a matter of hours, and without writing a single line of code. Our business model: clients pay a minimum monthly fee and around $10 every time someone plays one of their games. With only 6 games, GameLearn sells 6+ million. We are growing 55% year on year, and we have an LTV CAC ratio of around 7. Scaling is guaranteed. Up until now, we only sold through our own sales force, offering a very limited catalog of games to corporate clients. Now, With many more games, we will exponentially increase our corporate customer base and boost recurrence. Corporate clients whose needs were not met by our offerings before will now be able to create their own video games. Furthermore, training companies all over the world will be using our platform to sell game-based learning to their own corporate clients, as will do business schools, universities, or any training consultant. No incumbent offers a video game authoring tool. The education sector is rushing to digital, but it can do so using 30-year-old technology. The editor will be for online training what PowerPoint was for presentations.
All right. Video games, what do you think? Are you ready to play that game? Was it $10 every time you play? Interesting business models. Do we have any questions from the jury? No questions, speechless. All right, time for another one of those insightful conversations, people. Yes, and we have a special treat for you today. Let me tell you, we got two people here that I'm going to introduce. One is Teresa Martin Retortillo. You know, Teresa has, I could spend 20 minutes talking about her credentials, but she is Executive Vice President of Experiential Learning at IE, but she was Senior Vice President of Strategy and Business Development at McGraw-Hill Education for many years, where she supported the CEO in the digital transformation of the company definition and execution of strategies, investments, and partnerships. She was a partner at Bain for 20 years and has an MBA from Harvard Business School. So as you can see, Teresa Martin is the real deal. With her, we have our own Dean of IE Business School, Martin Bohm. The last decade, Martin has spent researching and consulting in the area of customer management, and he is a marketing professor at IE Business School, as well as being our Dean. Welcome.
Thank you, Paris.
This is a treat, face-to-face, right, guys?
The treat is all ours.
Yes. All right. Ladies first, Martin.
Absolutely.
All right, so, Teresa. Wow, 20 years of Bain, partner, all these things. I don't know where to start. Well, yeah, let's start with something that is, and we heard a lot about it today, lifelong learning. It's a big one, right? Why now more than ever?
It's a favorite topic of mine. Do you know that I'm actually here at IE because of that? Because I truly believe that lifelong learning is absolutely crucial. And now more than ever, because it's become evident that we need to continue adapting, and that frankly, the organization we work for, the education we received 20 or 30 years ago, may not be all we need. And so if we actually want to continue to be relevant, it is important that we assume and undertake a plan for continuous learning throughout the professional life. And you know what, Paris? The good or bad news, and it depends on what camp you see it, is that that professional life is no longer a 40-year life. It's probably going to look more like 50.
Why not 60?
Or even 60. I like it. That's exactly how we think. So if all of us are going to have a longer life, we need to manage our careers with relevant and meaningful knowledge that can actually make us, productive. Some of us talk about lifelong learning to lifelong earning. So now more than ever.
Yeah, and for sure we're going to need lifelong earning. Martin, I remember when I got here in 2009, our school was all about blended, and nobody was talking blended in those days. Now, all of a sudden with COVID-19, blended is like, oh, we've been doing this all the time. Everybody says that, and essentially they've got Zoom on in the classroom, and it's blended. Talk to me about the IE approach to blended and how COVID-19 has changed the world.
So obviously, I think, Paris, you're absolutely right. I mean, like, we have been for quite some time about blended, because we actually started already 10, 15 years ago to launch online programs in the market. But we have actually seen that the combination of face-to-face and online is just simply much more effective. But to be completely honest, I think it's not that simple, taking that approach that we have worked on over the last 10 years and just simply applying it to all our programs as a consequence or as a response to the pandemic. I think what we clearly have to consider and take into consideration, first of all, is, are we talking about a program where students actually dedicate full time, the entire time to studying, or it is really more a part-time program? So I'm still having my job, I'm still taking care of my family, and at the same time, I'm trying to finish a degree program. I think that is quite important. When we think about the part-time programs, clearly our blended approach has been very successful, has been proven over the last few years, and every year we're trying to refine this a little bit more. The trick here is that it's really not about the technology, it is really about the pedagogical approach or the methodology behind it, right? Having small groups that are highly interactive between the faculty member and the students, and at the same time as well, among the students, having a constant relationship, constant interaction to work on projects and work on assignments. However, when we take this model, or we would like to take this model and apply this to a full-time program, we certainly have to make some adjustments. Because now we're dealing with a student who actually has more time on their hands. They could spend more hours behind a screen and attending classes. But the challenge here is spending 3, 4, 5 hours behind a screen following a Zoom lecture or any video conference lecture is obviously a problem. So we really have to invest much more even in making the learning experience much more experiential.
And leveraging called liquid learning.
And this is what we now call liquid learning. So trying to switch back and forth between different states, between online and offline, but between classes or discussions at a class level, discussions at a group level, individual work, social work, projects that are more real-life experiences, and then obviously academic learning as well. So it's really, we have to switch much more back and forth in order to maintain the excitement of our students.
So essentially, it's not about the technology, it's the methodology.
Absolutely, completely agree.
And that's what we've cracked a while back ago.
I think we cracked it.
This is product placement, right?
And you know what is interesting? It's actually certainly not about the technology. The same way corporations talk about the need to change the culture when they do their own digital transformation, educational institutions need to change the culture, and actually getting all the different pieces that you've described, Martin, getting all of them aligned to actually create a unique experience, it's not that easy. So it really is not about putting Zoom. It's about everything that goes with it.
Yeah. Teresa, I remember during the pandemic here, I was talking to friends of mine all over the world, and it seemed like everybody was trying to get a certification, you know? And it became like the flavor of the pandemic, getting a certification. What's that all about?
Well, it's actually been fascinating because what has been true during the pandemic is people had a little bit more time, although some portion of the population were working 2 or 3 times harder, but some did have more time. And it actually was good news to explore other ways of learning, and other ways of learning that where the learner can demonstrate they've actually put in the effort, they've actually understood what it was all about, and they have demonstrated that they gained the capabilities. So indeed, there is a trend where lifelong learning not only matters for employers, but if you can actually prove that you were able to do those 3 things, it actually enhances the value, you know, your professional value. And yes, it's been a moment of a lot of, you know, movement around credentialing and a lot of people trying it out.
Thank you. Martin, we got less than a minute left, but one of the things that we've also talked a lot about is diversity.
Yes.
And now, you know, most schools are struggling with diversity because they don't have diversity in the classroom and they can't travel. What do you think COVID has done for us as a school in terms of, you know, bringing to the front this whole diversity issue?
So absolutely right. I mean, like, I think what we have seen over the past is that schools have opted either for an export or an import model when it actually comes down to diversity. Import model meaning I try to bring international students from all different parts of the world into my classroom. Export model is I take my local students, we go to a trip, and we have that experience, or we go on an exchange and we have that experience. Obviously, this export model is right now on pause, let's put it that way. But I think the import model is still working. I can actually still, even if I teach online, even if I deliver a program online, I can bring students from all over the world into the classroom, can have them work on projects together in order to take away this diversity, take away to understand that people look at challenges from different points of view.
Yeah, and when you come to Madrid to take a program at IE, you will have that diversity physically as well.
Absolutely.
Teresa, thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Paris.
Martin, see you soon.
Absolutely, it was a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, we keep going. Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. So we're going to keep going with our program here, which, oh my God, more startups. Great. So let's go. Our next startup is called Stack Fuel. The picture is Leo Moroz. He's the CEO and co-founder. Stack Fuel offers data analytics and data science training for professionals. From the country of Germany, join me in welcoming Stack Fuel.
Hi everyone, my name is Leo and I'm the founder of Stack Fuel. And we offer first-class data science education, especially for corporates and SMEs. Why do we think that is important? Many companies that are successful today have based their business on data. So the question, is data now officially worth more than oil, is relevant. On the other hand side, companies struggle to develop their workforce into new job roles that are in the area of Internet of Things, big data, or machine learning. If we look at the numbers worldwide, there are over 2.7 million open positions in the US alone that are data related and won't be filled. If we look at the job market, it's the same picture. The market salary of data scientists goes up and also the job ads. So the market and the demand is shifting out of the range. That's why we have developed Stack Fuel, an online training provider for data analytics and data science. We are completely B2B focused and help employers to upskill their employees. On the other hand side, the training is completely online, so it's COVID-proof and you have a flexible learning possibility. Also, our trainings are all hands-on and the curriculum is developed together with our customers and the market itself, so it's always relevant. The trainings that we have developed are on the one hand side, data awareness and data-driven management, which are about understanding the whole topic and getting into it. And then we have really in-depth trainings, data analyst and data scientist, which develop people within their work in those new job roles of a data analyst and data scientist. That's how our solution looks like. On the one hand side, we have the learning environment where you can consume the 10% theory content. So that's videos, quizzes, text, things that you might know already from other learning platforms. And on the other hand side, we have the data lab where you get all the resources that you need to do data analytics within the browser. So you have the computing power, you have the developing area itself, and you get all the data sets that you need. Additionally, we also offer mentoring all the way through the training. That means you can call us, you can get into weekly webinars, you can write into a forum, or you get support right into the training. So you're never alone in our online training. With that concept, we have won already quite a few big clients like Telefonica, Merck, or Axel Springer, and distribution partners that help us to develop the business further. Our team consists of 26 full-time employees in Berlin, and we are all sitting here in Germany. If you think data training for professionals is a future market that you want to get involved in or think it's worth voting for us, we are very looking much for your vote. Thank you very much.
Well, I don't think there's anybody that has any doubt that data science is a big thing of the future here, right? In the physical world, Nacho.
Thank you, Paris. Thank you, Leo, for the presentation. As you already know, I mean, this market is, you're playing against giants such as Google or Coursera. So what would you say is your main competitive advantage against your main competitors?
Yeah, so actually in Europe, we are not really playing against Google or big companies from the US. In the European market, we are more playing against the physical universities or the physical companies that train people in seminars. And they have really big problems right now because of Corona. We are all online, so that's different to them. And to the big players, they are not specialized on data. So they try to train everything, and we are really specialized on data. That's why we can provide the best technology for data technology training.
Thank you, Leo.
Sure.
More questions. Alvaro Callejo, Virtual World.
Hi, Leo. Thanks for the presentation. Regarding the time it takes to make the integration with your clients, can you elaborate a little bit more how scalable is the idea? It takes too long to integrate with different clients?
The question was about integrating the client?
Exactly. How much it takes, or how long?
Yeah, so to reach a new client, we just need, so it's like 3 to 6 months until we, like from the first contact to working with them. And as our platform is completely standalone, it's connected, it can be connected with the learning management system, the results, but our solution itself stands by its own. So we have this data lab, which is hosted on our German servers. We have our own LMS, but it's connected to the provider. So normally it takes like 3 months to work with them, and then we extend it.
All right, thank you. Yes, it's a sad moment because this is our last startup for this track. This startup is called Zapiens Technology. Zapiens systems help to acquire new knowledge and to solve any question. Imagine that. From the country of Spain, join me in welcoming the CEO, Daniel Suarez.
Hi everyone, I'm Danny, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Sapiens.ai. We are the knowledge operating system. Basically, we born because we want to solve a very huge problem that all the organizations are facing today. How we are able as an organization to manage all the knowledge inside of our company, how are we able to reskill the talent of our employees, how are we able to break all the silos and merge the information that is stored in digital areas and the knowledge that is stored in human brains. That's how we want to create a complete suite where you are able to manage all this in an easy and unique place. So basically, we started 3 years ago. The first module of this system was a micro-mobile training, and our first customers use us to train in an easy way and really quick to save tons of time to their employees, based exclusively in questions and answers. That for us is the most important thing, because right now today, we got a problem with the lack of attention. So the minimum quantity of informations, and for us, and the way that we transform how the information moves inside of the organizations is about questions and answers. It was our most important thing in the beginning. The second year, we developed the people analytics, the way that we collect all the information about the employees, and we were able to discover the topics, the experts, and connect a knowledge map about the organization. The third year, with these two models, we were able to create the third one, the knowledge connector. Knowledge connector is a kind of bot, but with a superpower. If you ask a question to our bot is able to give you the answer, as everyone, but maybe we are able to say you, I don't know. This is a superpower, because if we say you, I don't know, we were able to predict who is the right person inside of your organization, that it's the person that are able to help to you, collect that information and structure inside to save thousands of questions in the future. So this is what we got today. Of course, thanks to our partners with Microsoft and inside in Teams, we are growing after the pandemics real a lot, simplifying all the process. Even thanks to the help of AIDS 2020, the European Commission, we receive funding, and we are preparing right now the software as a service and move not only to work with corporates, that we are very proud to work with more than 50 like Vodafone, Nike, Nespresso, L'Oreal, and we are preparing the system even to be accessible for all the medium companies, even in a freemium way, in the way that you are able to pay with money or with knowledge. So this is the future of knowledge management. And if you want to know more about this and move from chaos to a knowledge operating system, just go inside sapiens.ai. See you.
All right, do we want to move from chaos? That's the big question. Okay, Q&A time. Any questions from the physical or virtual? Luis Miguel.
Hi, thank you very much. About the competitors, which is your add value, talking about the other companies that are doing similar things?
It's a great question because knowledge management is not born right now. It's 4 years topic, but it was very complex. So our advantages make this easy and a really great experience for the users, and that the behavior is about to share the knowledge and move and transfer information from one side to the other side, but in a really, really easy and funny way. And at the end, because if you help others, you're helping yourself. So this is the kind of behavior.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have time for one more question. Last question of the day. Who's it going to be? No more questions. Well, thank you, jury members. So now we come for another one of these insightful conversations. Beatriz Larregle, the Regional Managing Director for Southern Europe at Visa, is going to speak to us. Beatriz, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Paris, for having me, and thank you for the intro. So as we discuss diversity and inclusion today, I'd like to refer to not only gender equality, which is obviously very important to all of us, but also to tackle this from a broader perspective that has to do with diversity in ethnicities, in religious beliefs, in sexual orientation, in social backgrounds. Nowadays, citizens want to deal with companies that are very purpose-driven and that have a positive impact on the societies and communities in which they operate. So what that means, it means that companies not only must be much more aware of the social injustices and the social inequalities out there, but they must also do much more to fight against them. And one way of doing so is education through leadership. As our global CEO, Al Kelly, says, we want Visa to be a workplace where everybody can be themselves, where everyone works together to create a culture where we can celebrate everybody's uniqueness. Our social impact vision at Visa is to be the force for good, enabling sustainable and inclusive growth. And we do this every day at all levels, whatever the country that we operate in. So let me take again the example of Al Kelly, our CEO, who, after the heartbreaking events and attacks against Black Americans that happened recently in the US, spoke out very loud, saying that racism and social injustice had no place in society and had no place in our company. And as a result, he announced the launch of 5 key initiatives to enable us to do even more. One of those initiatives, for instance, being the launch of the Visa Black Scholar Program and Job Program. So let me come back to the theme of and the subject of gender equality, which is obviously very important. Visa is an organization that does a lot to create more and more opportunities for women in the workplace. And I think there's a few facts that speak for themselves. So let me only name a few. So 6 out of our 15 markets, 15 top markets, are actually run by women. 6 of our critical business functions are run by women. The Europe CEO is a woman. The sub-region that I manage actually has a leadership team. My leadership team is made of more than 50% of women. So that's what we do internally to create more opportunities for women. But what we are very committed to do is also to create the opportunity for women to run their business and to use the power of our brand, our business, and our network to really help to do so. So one great example is the She's Next program, which is a global initiative championing women's business so that they can run, fund, and grow their business. So let me finish by saying that at Visa, universal acceptance for everyone, everywhere, is not only our brand promise, it's also the very foundation of our company culture. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Beatriz. All right, and now for our closing conversation. Yes, this track is coming to an end, but we have so much more ahead over the next few days. Our closing conversation is going to be with Jose Antonio Ruiz, otherwise known as Mizungu. Maybe I'm not pronouncing that right. You need to listen to this. Jose Antonio is a social entrepreneur and philanthropist. He's the creator and the host of the prime social TV show Mizungu Operación Congo, and author of the book El Loco del Congo, bestseller and now in its third edition. So after a somewhat difficult childhood, he gained a degree in international business administration, helped by a scholarship, and had a fast and prolific professional career. By the age of 33, he decided to leave it all to give back to life what had given him, and started by building schools in war-torn countries to provide education to those most in need. An out-of-the-ordinary and intense life journey that has led him to live in 11 countries and travel to most of the countries in the world, and to face death more than 7 times. Yes, only at South Summit. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Jose Antonio Ruiz, Mizungu.
Hello, Paris. How are you doing?
How are you, Jose Antonio?
Awesome to be here.
Good to be here,
Thank
big
you.
guy. So I've introduced a lot of people in my life, but nobody like you. So grab a seat.
Thank you.
So I don't know where to start. I mean, yours is an incredible story. So why don't we start there? Tell us more about it.
As we're going to talk about education, and I want to make the story short because we could be here for ages.
I thought this was a travel video. No?
What?
Are we talking about travel or education?
No, education. We can do that too, huh? No, so I'll go straight to the point in which my life changes and I start this journey that is linked to education. I was 33 and I was in Antarctica and I was trapped in a whiteout, actually. That almost killed me. It was probably the 7th time I faced death in my life. That made me reflect on my life. And I made myself the following question. If I woke up tomorrow being 90 years old, would I regret not having done with my life what I really wanted to do? It's a tricky question. And I thought, I only have one life. Am I doing what I want? And what I wanted to do, first of all, was I was determined to have a meaningful life. On the other hand, I wanted to do that, actually, I wanted to do projects that helped people, that gave opportunities to people that didn't have them. So I decided to give back to life what life gave me through education. That's when the crazy idea of building schools in where nobody dares to tread. Why there, you might ask yourself? Actually, because that's where you find the people with less or no opportunities at all, right? I did it on my own, independently, but suddenly, beyond my family and my friends, the word did spread, actually. So everybody wanted to help me. I said, okay, hold on. I think it's the moment to I want to bring my message to, higher horizons. And I thought, I said, I need a speaker for this. And I thought of television to do that. So I gathered money with friends, family, people I didn't know. We gathered the money. I said, okay, with 30,000 euros, we can build the schools, I believe. So, but I'm going to film it on my own. There was no television involved. But for 2 things mainly. One, to show people that anything can be done, and to show them how the money is spent, and also to try to make my project self-sustainable, right? Well, this footage could have ended in YouTube, but no. It actually became Mizungu Operation Congo, which is a TV show that aired prime time earlier this year in one of the major networks in Spain. So that's how philanthropy led to social entrepreneurship, and that's what I do.
Amazing. You know, I always tell people that when you become 90, you're never going to regret the things you've done, but the things you haven't done.
Right, I totally agree with you.
And that's exactly how you felt at 33.
Exactly, yeah. Totally.
So why education?
Well, Paris, we people, regardless of origin, religion, or color, we all share dreams, we share fears, sorrows, everything. But to be able to fulfill these dreams, you need to be capable to grow. And that is a gift education gives you. Because to approach anything in life, any project, you need basically three things. You need attitude, you need skill, and you need knowledge. Attitude, you either have it or you don't. If you don't, go run and find it. A skill, you can develop. Knowledge, you can acquire. But these two, again, what you need to achieve those, to get them, education. Sometimes I think we try to fight the symptoms instead of going to the root of the problems, like a famine or an outbreak of a disease. Those are problems you need to tackle on the spot, right? Those are one-time unfortunate events or crises. But in the long term, in the long run, is education the basis for development? It guarantees its foundations. It gives you control of your environment. And that leads to it builds at first small economies that lead to higher living conditions that make you better ready for when those things come in at some point to diminish, to avoid, but at least to be more ready. So I think education is the most powerful thing. My mother did a huge effort and also helped me get a small scholarship to help me study. And that's why I thought that was what I had to deliver to give back.
You want to give back. We have less than a minute left. Tell me what's next in your life. Well, what drives you?
Television actually brought two things that were very important. One is the multiplier effect. I do one show on television, one project, and inspire so many people that they all get inspired, they do it. That's one. So I can grow horizontally instead of vertically where I need more overhead costs or a structure. On the other hand, just by sitting there and watching gives us visibility. Visibility gives us more shows, more projects, in the end, more future. So I always invite, there's room for everyone, from people with knowledge or skill to sponsorship. Why not? Because the effect is magic. It's awesome, and everybody wins. So the more we are, the more we do. And you said what motivates me? Well, in short, really intolerance to injustice. And I think solidarity is the way to fight it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time today. This is truly inspirational.
Thank you, Paris. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Okay, everybody. Well, unfortunately, this track has come to an end. Now, I want to remind you that the winner of the education track will be announced in the prime time this afternoon. And don't forget that we have two other tracks going on, health and well-being and the future of work. So, as we bring this track to an end, I want to remind you, those of you that know South Summit, of something Maria has always been obsessive about. And that's, as we celebrate entrepreneurship and startups in this South Summit, we also celebrate Spain. So, Viva España. And then, as you leave, don't forget, we have another great few days of more activities to go. But remember, always stay safe. Thank you, and we'll see you all very soon.